the flag, please. Everybody rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Melissa, do you have a prayer for us?
Yeah. Dear Lord, as we discuss various topics and ideas, we pray that you will give us clarity of thought and understanding. We pray that any disagreements or conflicts that may arise will be resolved peacefully. Help us communicate with respect and understanding, always seeking common ground. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. And can you do roll call?
Supervisor Hendrickson? Here. Supervisor Olson?
Here.
Supervisor Milliburn?
Here.
Supervisor Lucky?
All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. Is there anything that anybody sees that needs to be changed or questioned? All right, the consent agenda includes approval of the February 11th, 2025 Town Board meeting minutes. Claims list for approval. This will be claims number 38786 to 38803 for $10,000 or $10,491.41. Regular payroll, February 14th, 2025, check number 21901 to 21912, and electronic transfer of 21913 to 21915, equaling $16,356.87. Also included is the Fire Cat. This is the hose and ladder testing agreement. The approval of the February 20th, 2025 special meeting minutes, and the 205th Avenue final payment form. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
I'm good with everything. I'm just gonna abstain because I wasn't at the 11th meeting.
All right. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Abstain.
One, three, 4, one abstention. All right, we'll go on to number 2. This is the Fire Department January 2025 payroll. This includes direct deposits 21916 to 21945 and EFTs number 21946 to 21947, equaling $14,106.73. A motion to approve that?
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Abstain.
All opposed, 3, 4, 1 abstention. All right, approval of the agenda. Anybody have anything that they would like to add, subtract, or question? So one thing I would like to do is for 11, I'd like to put 11A. It's something that we had talked about at the last meeting. It's email admin rights. So we'll put 11A. And for number 15, or I'm sorry, 16 on the new agenda, this is a meeting on federal holidays for Bob. Can we expand this to include any discussion about state statutes? Would you be okay modifying that, Bob, or should we add it as a separate item?
Just added for A.
Okay, so 16A would be,
Statutes.
yeah, state statutes. All right, thank you. Those would be my suggestions. Any others? There's a motion to move. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I want to approve it, but I just maybe want to switch 5 and 4 around if that's okay.
So put 5 in front of 4?
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that. All right.
All right, so I'll start with the grants.
Motion to approve.
Well,
We gotta approve it first.
I make a motion to approve.
All right, motion's been made to approve the amended agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes.
So for the grants, so I did meet with I called a couple people. I was only able to meet with one person. I did get a quote for $30,000, but we, switching over to 4 now at the Parks meeting. There's other things that need addressing before that. We need to get lime for the baseball field. We have several people that are interested in using it now. So then hopefully that'll help us get a grant in the future to be able to, they'll fix one field and then hopefully we'll be able to fix some more. And then we had someone, Joel, there was someone that came and talked to the board last night about the Frisbee. Yeah. So Carrie will be here to talk about that.
All right, you want to move to that now?
I did grants first. So the grants I just discussed what, that I got a quote, but we're going to be doing the baseball field and because of funding, we,
Your quote for 30,000 was for
the tennis.
the
court.
tennis courts. But that was to fix the cracks, and we believe that we likely will need to do a complete overlay
Yeah.
or even tear out and redo the tennis courts. So that's what Lisa was going to go back and get some additional quotes on, which will be significantly more expensive.
Thank you.
So yeah, as Lisa shared at the park meeting last night, we've had a couple different groups reach out to us about using ball fields. And so we've gone back and forth on putting lime on the Parks and Four Seasons or one of the fields. At the 3 fields we have in 4 Seasons, it's not cheap. The last time we got a quote, it was just shy of $10,000, but because we've had some people express interest, we're thinking it's time to actually do that so that those are usable. And just due to the cost, we would only do one of the fields and then see how much use it's getting, and then potentially do the other 2 in future years, and or that's what Lisa was referring to, get a grant. Some of the grants that we've seen for the ball fields have required people to be using them to get the grant. And so it's a little bit of a chicken and egg. So if we could get one of them used, we could potentially apply for those grants. So just a heads up, we'll get a formal quote on that to submit. I don't need you to make a decision on that tonight, but we can bring that to the next meeting. But just know that last time we looked, it was about 10 grand for one field. The other thing that I wanted to share is that we had a presentation last night by the North Branch Disc Golf Association. They are a 501c3, and their mission is to fix and use and help maintain the disc golf parks that we have. And of course, we have a disc golf park here in Linwood, Fairway Flyers. And unfortunately, it's not in very good shape right now, to the point that it's not usable for disc golf players. Some of the holes are completely unusable. Some of them are missing tee boxes or signage. And so they want to partner with us to help fix it. They're a fully insured group. And what they would like to do is to help come in, do some grading, do some removal of trees, and maybe even redesign 1 or 2 of the holes that just are continuous problems. And so they're willing to provide the labor. They're to provide the course redesign, to help do the excavate, filling, compact the tee pads. There's a bridge out there that needs some repair. They're willing to do the brush and limb removal with our support to identify which ones they want to remove, make sure we're comfortable with it, and to help remove some of the poison ivy. So they're willing to do a lot of the work, a lot of the heavy lifting for us. They would love any and all support, but they know that we may not have that available. And so they're really, from us, they would be looking for some gravel, which they think would be probably under $1,000. Having us help remove the poison ivy, like providing some chemicals. And once it's up to date and ready to go, just maintaining it and mowing it and whatnot. So I have a presentation from them that I just got that I will forward to the whole board so that you're able to look at it. There's nothing really that we have to fully decide tonight, but looking for some support, maybe to be able to put them in touch with Supervisor Olson overseeing parks and not parks, Public Works and the park attendant, and then Lisa as our park liaison. They would ideally like to, if we're comfortable with it, remove some of the trees while the frost is still on the ground, in the ground, and then work on the rest of it kind of throughout the summer. So pretty exciting to be able to revamp that. They also shared that disc golf is one of the top 5 growth sports in the last 10 years. So it's really becoming quite popular. And they have some great statistics in the proposal that you can see about some of the usage that they've seen at some of the other parks where they've done this. So just wanted to bring that to the board and see if that's something that you'd like to partner with them on.
I think it's a great opportunity. Absolutely.
Actually, people are, our area is becoming a destination for the cities to come up and play Frisbee golf. So
Mhm.
I was gonna ask, so do they have like a directory of locations where there's Frisbee golf or?
Yes. Yeah, so there's actually, I learned it's an app that they use or a website called UDisc. And so people that are on UDisc can go on and they log when they're going to the different parks or courses. And so UDisc estimates that like only 30 to 40% of the rounds that are actually played on a course are recorded, because then there's, families and other residents that will just come up and use it. But that's where they're getting a lot of their statistics, and there's a lot of they have reviews in there as well that you'll see in the presentation that they gave us of just people that have played it that have indicated that our course is not in great shape right now.
I think we're 2.5 maybe.
2.5 out of a 5 rating, I believe. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's good, great opportunity.
Yeah, I think it's a awesome opportunity to take, so I'd pursue it. Yeah, and whenever you need to get together with me for Public Works, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Bob, what do you think?
Just fine and dandy.
Okay. All right.
I was just
Sounds-
looking at it on the App Store, so.
Yeah, and if anybody is looking for it, they call it on their app store Ponds of Linwood. We're not sure why it's called Ponds of Linwood as opposed to Fairway Flyers. So just anyone's looking and can't find Fairway Flyers, that's why.
Bob already signed up, so.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, thank
Great.
you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, so that was 4 and 5. Old business, school forest. Andy, any updates?
They had their medallion hunt this past weekend. That was a well-attended event and weather cooperating. They do not meet until April again. And I was there for Lisa last February for that meeting, but so she's got the calendar and schedule, and they're off in March for spring break. So they'll be meeting again in April, and obviously some of the budgeting talks will play into that to what they presented last year too. So sure, that was kind of the summary discussion.
All right.
So I have a quick, so I had a phone call yesterday from, so Bob, maybe you can help me. So is it parking lot F or is it S? I couldn't understand what the guy was
There's
saying.
a south and a north.
Okay,
the
so it
north
must
is
have been
on my
S then.
side.
Okay. So someone came to do the porta potty,
But the DNR closed the gate.
so I didn't know who to get a hold of or whatever.
Well, the DNR closes the gate when the DNR wants to close the gate, especially
Okay.
when it starts thawing out to keep the
Okay.
ding dongs out of there, tearing up the fields and all that. The township has a key. We've never opened that door for them. We've never opened the gate for them. That porta potty is set for I know it has to be open for turkey hunting in April, but I mean, if they want to come in and get the key, the township has a key
All right,
for that lock, but
maybe I can just go out and check and see. I mean, if it's full, it probably would need to be emptied, but if it's not, it could stay.
no, there's never been a huge issue with it filling up.
Yeah. I
Because
Cause when
call-
there's
I
no
get a call
hunting,
From the driver every time he's out here, and
Half the time it gets closed and there's too much snow to get any vehicles in there
Well,
anyways.
The thing is he didn't even go up to the gate. He just said that
Drive
he's
right
not
by
gonna
it.
get the truck right through it.
Oh.
So, yep.
Okay, that wasn't the message I had, but
Yeah,
okay.
no. He called in January and in February, so.
Okay, all right. Yeah, then that would be, yeah.
Yeah, because they used to call and say nobody's plowed the road. Well, we don't plow the road. It's not our road. And the DNR is not gonna plow the road either. It's just for a porta potty, so. And for the Gretchen to say she's never heard of this in 5 years, it happens every single winter, so.
Okay.
So that porta potty just sits there all winter long.
Yep.
Not being used.
Well, it gets used by the school, by the kids
Oh,
at the
okay.
school.
They come
Yeah,
from
they
the
come
truck.
from the school,
Okay.
walking there. Oh, yeah, it gets used.
Good. All right. Anything else for school forest?
No.
All right, attorneys contact matrix. So this one, I had put a rough drawing out there before. Alyssa helped me fill in some of the blanks and getting more stuff in there. So this is what it's been updated to. I don't know if everybody had a chance to review it. If there's any other feedback, if you notice that Alyssa put a note in there that if you have any changes or additions to get them to her. But I would suggest everybody take another look at this. If there's any other topics or types of questions, let's get that on the left side. If you feel that one of the roles on the top should have a checkbox in front of it, make that suggestion. What I would like to do is get permission from the board to just have our attorney take a quick look at this, because he's the one that fields all these questions, and just make sure that this makes sense to him and he's okay with moving forward with this, or if he has any suggestions, he can make those. So if I can get a consensus of the board just to be able to utilize that, because I'm sure there's gonna be a small fee for it. Thoughts?
In terms of something like, they probably have something like this with other communities or what they've, because he was the one who kind of led on to the email stuff anyway, so I think it's a start and it's a way to control and reel things in. And if something's missing, then we address it and we add it or.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he needs it on his side too. I mean, he needs to know when he gets a phone call, is this an area that that person has the rights to be able to be asking questions in, so it'll control some of the cost. I think they took a good step forward. I think they were working with Alyssa on changing how they were invoicing so that it makes a lot more sense. So that will hopefully help define exactly what those expenses are for. So, does anybody have an issue with me going with the attorney and that there's gonna probably be a small cost associated to it?
There a reason to go to the attorney? I mean, this is our internal thing here. Why are we asking the attorney permission to do our own internal work?
I think if he looks at this, if there's something that he fields questions on that we missed here, gives him an opportunity to say, hey, don't forget this. Or as far as who should be contacting him, the other thing is he's got to have this so that he knows exactly who he should be fielding
Who it's
questions.
okay for him to answer the phone if the phone rings?
Pretty much. I mean, we want to control costs, and right now we have an issue with where a topic comes up and there's multiple
Right.
people that reach out. So this is what we talked about before. This is an attempt to start curbing that. So. All right. Well, I got 3 yeses at least anyway, so. All right, that's what the attorney's contract matrix is. So again, if you got any feedback, get it to Alyssa. We'll try to finalize this here at the next meeting. Number 8, handbook revisions. Now this one, we tabled it. I think, Alyssa, I think you had some things that the state now came out with that is not in our current handbook or something. I think that's what part of the discussion was back a few months ago.
Yeah, and we had implemented them. That's what we need to move forward with, is why we need to get the handbook out.
Okay,
Initially, everybody received like a paper copy of what was being put into place, but now anybody else who comes on, our handbook is out of date.
Mhm.
So all of the revisions were put in there prior to it going to the third attorney.
Mhm.
So I don't know where's our hang up with the discrepancies right now. So we can move forward with it because a lot of them are state statutes that have been put in place, such as earn sick and safe time. And we'll have to amend it in order to add the Minnesota Paid Leave Act too as well.
Okay. I did reach out to the HR attorney and, she got back to me. She's trying to set up a date with me.
Okay.
So, as soon as we can do that, I'll find out where she's at. I know she had at least started on it. The last time I talked to her, she had been working on it. I don't know if she's completed it yet. So, but I'm trying to get that meeting set up.
Okay.
So then we'll be able to maybe, and then out of the revisions, the proposed revisions from, I think the last time was like August. Are those things that you need put in there, as far as the earn sick and safe, all of that is included in those?
That is correct. Yep,
Provision,
because
okay.
the Minnesota Paid Leave Act doesn't take place until January of 26.
Perfect. All right, that'll help me with her. All right, any questions with 8? All right, number 9, air exchanger quotes.
I wanna hold that off till next week. I don't have enough information to make a solid decision on that. So if I can just table that for 2 weeks.
All right,
Can we do 4 weeks? 2 weeks is the annual meeting.
Sure.
okay, tabled 4 weeks.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to push this off 4 weeks. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes. All right, number 10, supervisors' comments, removal from the agenda. This is one that we talked about 4 or 6 weeks ago. I had questioned whether we wanted to leave supervisor comments at the end of the meeting. And we took them off for that meeting, but then I was reminded that we actually didn't make a motion. So the board has not made a decision to remove those. So it's on the agenda to discuss again. My feeling is that, I mean, updates is nice, but if it's something that's worthy enough to be discussed in a meeting, I think it needs to have an agenda item. I mean, that's my personal feelings. Otherwise it just seems to not follow, the comments necessarily. So, I don't know what the
It
rest of you
would give
feel like.
the residents an idea of what we want to talk about too. So if it's something that concerns them, they can be here and ask questions.
Yeah, and the other thing too is traditionally, anything that was ever discussed in comments never was put into the meeting minutes. And I have found that in the past where I've sat in this audience and listened to a topic, I've went back through those meeting minutes, scrubbing for them, and found that they were never in there, and then realized with the, that they were actually a comment section and that therefore it was never documented. So I think it just kind of creates some liability if we're not being forthright on the agenda. That's my feelings. Any other I'm gonna make a motion that we remove supervisor comments from the end of each one of our meeting minutes or our meeting agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded.
I was-
Comments?
So I just want to be clear in terms of what is, I'm seeing it as the comments at the end. Are we saying only supervisors or all comments? Because
Yeah, my statement was supervisors alone. I think the comments reference itself is probably wrong. It should be like updates. I mean, it should be,
that's where because I mean, stuff is gonna happen where you might need a consensus or need something, but if all of a sudden, like you said, here's this motion and action that we need to take on something. I just want to make sure that it's updates and not comments, because they're
Right.
different.
yep. Okay, so I'll amend my motion to include changing the treasurer's comments to treasurer's updates. All right, any other discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, 3, 4, 1 against, motion passes. All right, security portal access.
We
Bob.
talked about this before, and I don't think Supervisor Ludke was in the room. I don't think he was here that meeting. I'm still trying to figure out why we are not allowing our treasurer to have access to the portal if somebody needs a key card to get in for a rental. I'm just having an issue trying to figure out why we're not giving her access. I'm sure I don't think Andy was here that day and it just got voted down 2-1, but I want to make a motion to allow security portal access to the treasurer.
Okay, motion's been made. Is there a second? Is there a second? Third and final time, is there a second to the motion? There's no second, so the motion fails due to a.
I don't know what you, somebody's hiding something. I don't know why. It's just weird. It's just weird. I don't know if people have stuff, township stuff on their own personal computers or what, but that is not good that we are, I don't know, we seem to be hiding stuff. So, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and just to be clear, the last time, as I remember, I think it also failed due to.
Yes, it did.
Second. It
That's
wasn't-
why I asked for it again.
Yeah,
Because
it wasn't
Supervisor
voted.
He was in the room now, so.
Correct, it was not voted down. I just want to make sure that that was clear. All right. And is there a need to define a process to making updates?
I don't, for sure. I meet with Sarah tomorrow, so some of the issues have been, some of the stuff has been set up for different times and dates, so Sarah and I are meeting tomorrow on. I watched the meeting and the one issue that was there, we talked through that one even 2 hours before the meeting, and that was more a user issue in terms of what they had, so.
Okay.
We're meeting tomorrow and we'll clear it up.
I'd say if there's any questions, I mean, Andy and I are both security, so I would get a hold of either one of us. All right, we'll go on to the next one, number 12, hiring a township clerk. So this board has met a few times. At the Thursday's special meeting, the board gave direction to
11A.
Email admin.
Oh, I'm sorry, jumped right over the top of it. My own sloppy writing. Oh, yeah, email admin, thank you. Let me jump to that one. Sorry about that. This is just to provide some information here. At the last meeting, when we talked about the security portal, we also had talked about email admin access. And it was part of the comment section and it did pass, but I didn't have an opportunity to do any research on it. So I did reach out to our contact at TR Computers and I asked them how this works at other municipalities. Do they have a certain number of people who has admin access? What rights does that give them? And the response back was, he said, for security and management purposes, we recommend limiting the admins to TR personnel only. And so we just gave access, for our treasurer to be able to go in and do the admin access. Apparently what they normally do is they do it on a request to the help desk basis. And then the help desk opens a trouble ticket, they make the changes, they document it, and then they close the ticket. This is how he explained. He went on to say part of the reason is the risks associated is because the admin literally has control over everything and can do anything and can read anything. So he said that's traditionally why they usually limit it to TR staff. So I'm not sure if we need to or want to take action on this. And the other thing too is that they also, we talked a little bit about the distribution groups because I know our distribution groups are all crazy. And because if you need to be an admin for that, it makes sense. And he said that that they can assign designated owners of those. And then the designated owner of a distribution group actually has control to add or remove users from that group on their own and do not have to go through the help desk. So I'm not sure what level of access, if you need that full of access to that, or.
I just went in and reinstated a email for fire department and added them back to the fire department. And then I updated the town board.
Distribution.
Yes, correct.
So that's the intent.
Oh,
You-
so-
you
Yeah,
need-
that's
You need
how,
admin rights for our outdated like we talked about.
correct,
Like,
yes.
So that could have been a help desk issue or ticket. That
To
could-
reopen that user, yeah. Yeah, that could have been a help desk one. So, and I apologize. I wanted to get with you beforehand and I just got this here and I didn't have time ahead of time. So, maybe for information right now, but maybe you and I can get together. Since I'm IT and we can work something out and if we need to, we'll bring it back to the board at the next meeting. All right. All right. So that's all that was an update there. All right. So that was 11A. All right. Now on to the hiring of a town clerk. So again, Thursday we had met, the board as a whole, directed the chairperson and the vice chair to move forward with some action items, following that meeting, kind of as a phase one. So Supervisor Lutke and myself, did that and we completed those. But right now, I think we're now ready for phase two, which means that I think we need, further direction from the board as a whole. And so, what I would recommend is that we call a special meeting next week, so that the four of us can discuss this and where we're at in the process and how we move forward from here. And so if nobody objects to that, I'd love for people to grab their calendars and let's figure out a date and a time. And then I'll actually make a motion after that.
Or should we email each other with dates?
It's,
Got my phone turned off.
all right, so we gotta go at least 5 days out, right? Is that 5 business days or does that include weekends?
Weekends and then not the day you post, right?
Correct, yep.
Okay,
So it could be Tuesday, the 4th, Wednesday, the 5th, Thursday, the 6th.
okay. I'd prefer not Tuesdays because I do have a road and bridge, but I can do it, around that, I guess, if we need to, but the 5th, 6th, I'm open, either of those days.
Busy the fifth?
The fifth is, I'm busy.
I'm free the 6th.
Do it the sixth? You okay the sixth?
6th. Okay,
What time?
6 o'clock?
that works,
Works.
right? 6 o'clock it is.
To discuss the hiring.
Yep, so I'll put that in the motion here. So I'm gonna make a motion that the board call a special meeting on February, what was that date again?
March.
I'm sorry.
March
thank you.
6th.
On March 6th at 6 o'clock to discuss, possibly interview and take action on the appointment of a town clerk. Was there a second?
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? All right, motion passes 4-0. All right, new business. Board of Audit.
So in your packets, I have the Board of Audit papers and how the numbers are compiled into the spreadsheet that is posted 10 days prior to the annual meeting. This is something that the township has to do annually. So this is the 2024 numbers for the Board of Audit.
Okay,
So did anybody have any questions regarding the Board of Audit? If anybody wants all of the claims and payrolls and receipt ledgers and disbursement ledgers are on the table back here for any viewing purposes, or if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.
so that's open to the public also, right?
That is correct.
And how long will that be available on the table? Is it up to the annual meeting or is there?
No, I bring it back in. If somebody's got a question, we can always pull them out. I mean,
Okay.
it's,
This sheet of paper will be posted.
yep, the sheet of paper will be posted like that statute.
Okay.
So that'll be posted in the hallway there. So, yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Let me just get this. Not mistaken, I may need a motion.
Can you state the motion that you're looking for?
I will. I would request a motion from the board to accept the treasurer's report for 2024. For the for the 2024 Board of Audit.
Great.
I make a motion to accept the treasurer's report for year ending 2024 for the Board of Audit report as provided in the packet.
I'll second. All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. All right, White House Security Online Payments, Alyssa.
Right, so with our Wright Hennepin Security, typically we pay them by checks. Every time the checks come in, it is automatically dispersed to different accounts. Well, we have 7 accounts running right now, just because of all the different projects we've been having going and the allocations are getting quite out of hand. Last September, it took me and the billing personnel over 3 hours to get the bills resituated. Well, now we're having that instance again. So I am looking for the board's permission in order to pay the WH security payments online, as that way I can apply them to the accounts they need to be applied to. And then it will come through to the board on my credit card statements, just like the Midco bills do and everything else. But at least at that time, we're saving ourselves from having to go through another 3 to 5 hours of reallocating the money that was placed at the
No,
different accounts. So
makes complete sense. Do we have other utilities that are reoccurring that this is the last one of all the Midco's telephones and,
Yeah.
okay, then I just wanted to try and do a
yeah,
captured one.
we just fixed Nextiva. So I got that all fixed.
Uh.
But yeah,
Then I'll make a motion to move Wright Hennepin Security to online payments, authorizing the treasurer to set up those accounts.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 4-0. All right, quotes for the plow trucks. Let me get down to that. All right, so there's a couple quotes. So what we had happen was last snowstorm, the cylinder that lifts the wing on one of the trucks, the shaft snapped. And so this went into peer pressure to have it taken a look at, to replace the hydraulic cylinder and the labor associated to it. They had given us an estimate of $6,170. Here yesterday, I think it was, Jack had talked to that person, and they said that the cost of the cylinder itself was less than what they had quoted. So it will cut the cost down. Probably he was guessing that it'll cut it almost in half, the cost of the cylinder.
That's for buying a brand new cylinder or a rebuilt cylinder?
That is a new cylinder.
Okay.
Yeah, and so that'll be roughly 26 to $3,000 is probably what it is. But since we don't know what the total cost is, I'm wondering if we should just approve the quote as is, knowing that it will most likely be less. The other quote, that was the second one. The first one that was on the list here for $1,114.07 is the other truck started giving a code and dying. And so we had them scan it, and turns out that the coolant tank is leaking and is leaking down onto some electronics, some electrical components. And so it's shorting out and giving it a code. So what has to happen here is they have to replace the coolant tank, and it's about 2.5 hours to do so. So it's the cost of the coolant tank and labor. And again, that's $1,114.07 is the estimate.
So all they have to do to the power control block is clean it, and they're fine with it?
And that's what he said. He said, as soon as there's no
Make a
liquids
motion to-
leaking.
Spend up to $1,200 on truck, is that truck 101?
Yes.
Okay, on truck 101 for coolant leakage.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, motion passes.
I hate doing that other one without having a price. I could guess all day long. He said it's not gonna break $3,000?
He didn't commit to that. He just said the part would be roughly half of what he expected it to be.
Too bad Gorilla Tape wouldn't work.
Kidding.
Would it be feasible to approve the cost of up to $4,000? It's taking 2,000 off of the bill. And then if the quote comes in
guessing.
differently,
We're guessing. I make a motion to spend up to $6,000 to fix truck number 102.
Right, motion's been made, to spend up to $6,000.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion?
Come on up.
You make a comment, not a question, but a comment. Comment, yes.
is it okay to get an approved estimate prior to? I'm assuming he should be able to get us a more recent
More
estimate.
accurate one.
Me before the truck leaves the yard.
Truck's already there.
Oh, it's already there.
That's- Yep. Tony, what is your comment, please?
Where did that cylinder break?
In the shaft that goes inside the housing, the shaft snapped.
Was it extended out 6 inches like it's supposed to be? Those are nitrogen filled. So that if you hit something solid, see, that's why we never put curb knockers on there.
Yeah, it's not that cylinder.
It's not the way, it's the raised to wing.
It's the one that
cylinder.
raises the toe.
Okay,
Yeah, it's the one that raises the toe.
that's different.
Yep.
Okay.
Right, thank you. All right. So we still got a motion on the table, right, for the 6,000? All right, motion's still on the table. It's been seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes 4-0. Thank you. All right, number 16, meeting on federal holidays.
We just gotta be careful and not, any meetings on a federal holiday is not a legal meeting. You cannot have a paid township meeting on a federal holiday, and most state laws and local ordinances prohibit that. So everybody knows there was a meeting held last week on a holiday and it was not supposed to. So just so everybody knows, there's a list of days when you cannot have a meeting. New Year's, Martin Luther King, Washington birthday, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day. There's just People Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas. So you got to make sure you don't have meetings on that day, those days.
And who does this pertain to then?
Was there a meeting last Monday with the security company?
Are you sure? No, with
Because I asked you if you had a meeting with security company and you said yes.
TR Computers, not security.
Okay, TR Computers. Did you have a meeting with TR Computers last Monday?
Absolutely.
There you go. Hey, you can't have a meeting with TR Computers. That's what I understand by state statutes. If you read state statutes different than I do, then we have a gray area.
So did you get a legal opinion?
What's that?
Did you get a legal opinion on this?
No,
or-
I don't. I'm not allowed to call the lawyer. You just said that. I'm not allowed to call the lawyer. Again, if you're telling me I'm wrong, you prove to me I'm wrong and I'll go from there. But I'm just trying to give information to the board that we cannot have meetings on these days. Unless it's an emergency. Because it says no public meeting, no public business can be transacted except to deal with an emergency. And the exact words I was told was it was a meeting that's been planned for a month. Well, that doesn't dictate as an emergency.
So not knowing why this was on the agenda for sure. Did a little research. And from two different legal sources, and the opinion just cutting down the long email, it says that this statute is a gray area. But it's clear that it does not mean that supervisors can't do anything on a holiday. The object of the statute is to not allow interference with employees having a federal holiday off, with the exception of an emergency, like you said. There was no quorum. There was no employees present. It was just two supervisors and a contractor, and no decisions were made. So therefore, the legal opinion is that this was not, quote, public business, unquote, under this statute. So, and I agree with you, Bob, when I first read this, I went, oh boy, did I make a mistake? Because when
I
you
just
read it,
read it
that's
how
the
I
way
read
it
it.
sounds. Yep, exactly. But what I'm finding with these statutes, and that's why I put this down as the 16A, is I've read these statutes. I swear I understand them. I ask.
So everybody reads them a different way, you're saying?
There's different ways that it's like, if you looked at this one and there's another statute out there that references the same topic, whichever one gets into more detail supersedes the other one.
Okay.
So if you're only looking at this one and there's another one out there and you don't know it, you're gonna make the wrong assumption. And like I said, when I read this, I thought, you're right, Bob, we shouldn't have met. And then when I dug into it deeper, it was different. So,
Okay.
so that's why, it's,
So I'm not gonna call an attorney tomorrow. Because I'm not allowed to call our attorney, but in Minnesota State Statute 645, this is how I read it. And I'm just saying, if you want to try, if people want to try to go around and read a statute the way they read it, that's fine and dandy. But this town, again, it's all about being transparent to the township. And this is how I read it. I'm not a township employee, but this is how I read it. But evidently somebody reads it different and they're trying to, again, what are we hiding? If we're,
Who's hiding anything?
I just asked a question. If you're gonna jump up and defend yourself, that's just fine, but
I'm not.
I'm just asking a question that this says, and if you think you had to have a meeting on a holiday, that is awesome. I'm just saying that I don't think we should due to this statute. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, the last meeting, I think it was the last meeting, we were given a list of all the different resources you go to for legal
Yep.
advice.
100%. 100%.
Go through the list.
You know what? In the last meeting, it was also brought up that no, you cannot have a meeting on that Monday. It's a federal holiday. And you did anyways,
Who brought that up?
the treasurer.
Is that legal?
In a
Is
meeting?
that legal advice?
In a meeting? She knows way more about this township than anyone at this table.
So we're getting legal advice from a staff member.
You know what?
Is
I
that what you're
trust-
suggesting?
No, but I trust what our staff says. I trust what our staff says all the time.
And I have two legal opinions that says it was wrong, Bob.
Okay. Okay.
So
And
you
again-
can trust it, but I'm
Again, but you
telling- I-
started off by saying this is a gray area.
Yep.
Again, I read it the way I read it and you read it the way you read it. Who's right, who's wrong?
Or you can get a hold of the township league,
You're right. You're right. And before I admit I'm wrong, I will call the township and I'll talk to them about this statute and I will call you tomorrow.
That's fine.
Why wouldn't we do that before this? Is what I'm.
I don't know. We just don't have a policy to do it this way, but we'll look at that later. So I'm not admitting wrong, you're not admitting wrong, but we will talk about this tomorrow when I get somebody else's opinion on it.
Well, to Andy's point, why didn't it start that way? Why
No,
does this,
it doesn't really matter.
why
to
does
me.
this have to come into a
It
public
doesn't really
meeting
matter
every
to
time
me.
we turn around? That's the problem.
Yep, every
I-
time we turn around.
I
You're right.
don't know what the underlying objective is.
Thank you.
Oh, no, thank you. Is that it on that topic?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was hoping that topic was going to be a little bit more reasonable, but to go further is there's lots of state statutes
Mhm.
and there's violations along the way. And I worked hard to show you respect in December and help you not violate one.
Which one did I violate?
When you made a motion to give a raise to election judges,
Okay.
and one was a family member that lives in your household.
Oh, yeah.
I could have let it go. I could have brought it back at the next.
That's why I
board
brought
meeting,
it up was for my household family. You're right.
And
You're right.
please be respectful.
I am.
I
I'm
let-
just agreeing with you. That's why I brought it up.
I let you talk. Please be respectful. All right. But it's like what I did was I brought it up respectfully, acknowledged that there may be something wrong and you rescinded your motion. I didn't wait till the next meeting. I didn't let you do it. I didn't come back to the next meeting. I didn't make a big spectacle of it. And this happened not just that time, but there was another time that actually was similar to that. The open meeting law. We spent $6,000 last spring on some attorney stuff with the employment conflict of interest. Then we had to have another 4,000 something odd dollars in training. So we all sit through training. Open meeting law was one of the big topics about that. And there's a lot of documentation, state statutes about the open meeting law. So an example is 2 meetings ago, before the meeting started, you were standing here, I'm sitting here, Lisa's there, I think Andy was gone at the time. And you started a conversation before the meeting started with somebody in the audience talking about a topic that was on the agenda.
Mhm.
And so to stop it, I said, we're violating the open meeting law. And you said, I'm talking to him and only him. And I said, it doesn't matter. You got 2 people that are present. It violates the open meeting law. You said, I don't care. I'm going to continue talking to him.
Okay, are you accusing me of breaking the open meeting law?
I'm saying that maybe it should be checked into. I'm
Okay.
also saying that maybe,
Okay.
Bob, that, you're not the only one that sees that there's issues.
Yep,
So
okay,
you don't need to constantly, there's other methods of dealing
Okay.
with this stuff than to try to come in here because the meetings are recorded and make a spectacle of it.
Okay.
There's so much more stuff that we have to get done as supervisors in a town board than to argue about statutes.
you're right.
I mean, we really do. And I'm trying to be really respectful, Bob.
And I'm agreeing with you, everything you say. Are you getting
Okay.
upset that I'm agreeing with you?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think there's a little bit of, reaction to that or skepticism. But like I said, we just need to figure out, let's do town board business. And this is what that's what we signed
I'm
up
trying to
for.
do I'm trying to do township business.
Well, I'm trying to get,
Trying
I'm
to
trying
do-
to get us beyond this. That's why I asked to do the 1 meeting a week with you, Bob, is I really honestly want this to be a cohesive board that we come in and we actually support each other. Right now, it doesn't feel like that.
Okay.
And it's very disheartening. And like I said, after every meeting, I get a course of emails and
Oh, I know.
Facebook messages that says, what is going on? So, again, I got a whole list of examples. It's not worth going through all of them, but we need to figure out how we're not going to sit there and keep reciting state statutes, especially when they're not founded.
Okay.
So, all right. So, any other comments on that topic before we move on?
I've said it last year and I'll say it again. Need to get to where there is a code of conduct and a policy manual. And when that 5th person's sitting here, I will not rest until that's happening because there should be a whole lot more process before stuff comes before this board. So it isn't just one word on an agenda and you gotta play detective and guessing what it's about. So that's me.
So a suggestion would be a policy and procedure manual or code of conduct for the board. how we manage
Absolutely.
Meetings. I like that idea. I like that idea. Is that something we can start working on before we get this person on, not approve it until the 5th member's on?
Yeah, for sure, we can start on something, but I just want to make sure that they're not coming into something too that,
Right.
but I've spoke to it from me coming on being brand new. Lisa and I met prior to her because I knew what it was like coming on to a new board that was completely established for a decade or better. And I know I came up short for her because I didn't have enough. And we're learning as we go. So
Did share quite a bit of information where I was able to look things up.
find the resources. Yeah.
All right. All right, with that, we will move on from 16A. 17, phones.
All right, so I guess I should have had, next time I will add a little more. I did get an email and I was busy and didn't get back to the email, so I apologize for that. So in the past, when I was in the audience and all that, I noticed that several times where people were on their phones, checking their whatever and all that. And I just think that out of respect to the residents here in Linwood Township, that, we should just put them on mute, put it down and not look at our phones. And I was actually just wondering if, if we should communicate the calendar via email, but then it might be one more day so I could see where we would need to look at the calendar. But I'm just thinking we should leave the phones down and not be looking at any text messages or communicating on the,
I wholeheartedly agree with that. I mean, you're here to represent. I mean, it's possible if I was text messaging with a citizen that could impact my vote. And it may not be,
I did
Right.
have a few people message me after some meetings and so I said, well, I'll bring it up in the meeting.
we want one,
So I'd like to make a motion that we mute our phones and we don't look at it during the meetings. Does that have to be a
Friendly amendment to include unless, excluding looking at a calendar to
Yeah,
schedule.
excluding the calendar.
All right, so motion's been made that we put them on mute. We do not use them or look at the phones, our personal cell phones during a meeting with the exception of scheduling with a calendar. Is there a second? I will second that. All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
All opposed?
Opposed.
All right, motion passes 3-1. All right. Treasure updates.
Other than budgeting, I did the annual meeting postcards went out. We received ours here at the town hall and I was a little upset with it because it was the first name and then it states or current resident and then the last name. So it wasn't the format that was approved. So I did reach out to Vistaprint and they credited us the full amount. So.
Oh.
Wow.
good job.
Yes, so we have a $1,550.10 credit on our Vistaprint. Because
Amazing.
it was a printer, it was relayed to me that it was a printer mistake. It wasn't the mistake through submitting them. Granted, the postcards did their job, but it wasn't initially how we had ordered the proofs, so.
Correct.
Very nice.
They're official. Our postings are, our
Yes.
times and everything. It's
Correct.
just the way it worded. It put or current resident between
the first and
people's
last name.
names.
So,
Wonderful.
Good job. Yeah, that's a great credit.
Super. Anything else? Oh, that was easy. All right. Is there anything else to come before the board tonight?
Motion to adjourn.
All right, motion's been made. Is there a
Second.
second? Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I
I,
This meeting is adjourned at 6:56.